Okay, so this is a model of the neuron, and the neuron is the structure in nervous tissue that actually sends action potentials. When you're looking at structures of a neuron, this is what we call a multipolar one. You can see these processes right here, the larger ones. Okay? These are the dendrites of the neuron, so lots of dendrites. The structure in the middle here is the cell body of the neuron. If we open up the cell body, we can see the typical structures of a cell. So we have the nucleus, and we have the Golgi, we have the smooth ER, we have rough ER. Okay, so typical structures inside of the cell body. The rough ER is also referred to as the Nissl bodies, okay, or chromatophilic bodies. So you can see those there. We can also see some fibers running through the cell body and heading down into the axon. Those would be called neurofibrils. So you can see the neurofibrils running down. Those are intermediate filaments that give the neuron structure. We see mitochondria, okay, so we can see some of the mitochondria in the cell as well, making ATP. Right here where the cell body is exiting as the axon, this is the axon here, would be the axon hillock. This is the axon hillock. This is where action potentials originate. And then the axon continues down this way and would eventually become axon terminals, or terminal branches and then axon terminals. So that's not seen on this model here because they've cut it in cross-section. So what we can do is we can go back to the dendrites here and we can see those terminal branches here as they connect or begin to connect to dendrites. So this is a terminal branch. And then we can see the axon terminal or synaptic terminal actually making the connection with the dendrite. So terminal branch, axon terminal, terminal branch, axon terminal. If you look inside the axon terminal, you can kind of start to see what looks like synaptic vesicles, and that's where the neurotransmitters would be coming from to communicate with this neuron. Down here along the axon, we can see several larger cells. Here's one here, here's a cell here. These are called the Schwann cells. This is the nucleus of the Schwann cell. The outer portion would be called the neurolemma of the Schwann cell. But this intersection here where you can see membrane, okay, going around the axon, this would be the myelin sheath. This is where plasma membrane has wrapped around the axon and created the myelin sheath structure that insulates the axon. The gaps between the Schwann cells, seen here and seen here, these are called the nodes of Ranvier. So this is where you actually have action potentials generated as you move along the axon. And then lastly, the connective tissue covering around the entire neuron structure in Schwann cell here, this would be called the endoneurium. So this is one layer of connective tissue that would be part of a nerve. The next layers out would be perineurium and then epineurium as part of the nerve structure.